Okay.
Yeah. For those listening, and if you're not familiar with the Japanese beef marbling standards, what would be considered high prime in the United States would be a marbling score of you mentioned 8, I believe. Okay, and so they have yet 4 more marbling levels beyond our highest standard that we can even apply to a carcass in the United States. And so trying to help the listener understand just how rich this meat really is, which makes it so special.
Welcome to MeatsPad, a platform dedicated to sharing breakthrough knowledge that is accessible to the meats industry. On each episode, we will hear from meat specialists and professionals to talk about numerous topics in meat science. This podcast is brought to you by the U.S. Meat Export Federation, the National Provisioner, UltraSource, the new standard for innovation,
IFA, Meat Processing Power.
Viscofan is a global leader and innovative partner in the food industry who provides solutions for the casing market.
Hello,
welcome to MeatsPad, a platform dedicated to sharing breakthrough knowledge that is accessible to the meats industry.
Dr. Bas,
on each episode, we'll hear from meat specialists and professionals to talk about numerous topics in meat science.
I'm excited as usual.
Welfare,
I'm a little
quality,
more mellow
safety,
because I don't
and
have
so
my
much
coffee,
more.
because I have my tea, and the reason for that is because when I have a former graduate student colleague who's going to be joining us, and this is the only person I know of that has gone into a McDonald's and asked, "Do you have green tea?" And I remember this from many years ago, of course. I don't know if he was able to capture the green tea, but he did capture an awful lot of imagination while he was here. Back in the early 2000s. I was at Colorado State University working on my PhD, and I had the absolute privilege to work alongside Mr. Kenichi Kato, who is a real live butcher in Japan, and comes from a long line of butchers. And so, you know what, Ken? First off, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm actually drinking a coffee.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
You know,
I love it. And he has his Colorado State mug, and I have my styrofoam cup like I normally would.
Yeah.
So. Ken is in Japan. What time is it over there, Ken?
It's 8 in the morning.
Okay, 8 in the morning, and at the time of the recording, it's 5 p.m.
Yes.
Central Time. So it's I love the I mean how internet and how this technology works, that you can be like literally on the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's time travel. Tell us how tomorrow is. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, it
is. Well, hey, I'd like to kick off the discussion here, because one of the things that I really value my time working with Ken during grad school, and he was able to teach me an awful lot about, was the uniqueness of especially the beef over in Japan. Beef was something that I did a lot of research on, and Ken did, and Ken is an expert meat cutter in the Japanese style. And so tell us about what makes beef in Japan so special, and of course this magical and mythical Kobe beef.
Sure. Actually, in Japan, we call actual Wagyu beef, probably 20-30% of the consumption is Wagyu. Yeah, the 20% will be the dairy cattle, and 50% is imported from the US and Australia. And the Wagyu, since 1960, so my grandfather at that time was cattle broker. He brought a calf to the rice farmer.
Okay.
And the rice farmer used a calf or cattle to cultivate their own rice farm.
Okay.
Then my grandfather came back to the rice farmer to buy the actual animal when it gets old, and then bring to the city side to sell the butcher. Okay, we use the cattle, not only just beef, but also the cultivation. Till
to pull
90s,
to till the land and to work the
right,
land.
right,
Yeah. Okay.
right, till the 1970 to yes, and then we kind of shifted to more like a beef for beef. Use cattle for more like a beef than just cultivate. So it changed in 1970, right? And at that time, the economy was growing up. It's like expanded. So people start eating more beef. At that time, the beef is still like a high value, high cost, or like expensive products of our the protein as a protein. So we ate a very few. Especially we have lots of fish. As you know, we are island. So our protein resource is more like a fish and some soy and some chicken and pork and beef. So beef is a very the short consumption at that time. So we need to make that beef very rich taste and fragrance. So we feed the animal, we breeding the animal, starting from 1969 to 17. Maybe it's same as the American meat science started almost same time. Then we focused on much strong for marbling.
Marbling being the big focus, right? Yeah.
Yes, big focus. Yeah. So and we success. Yes.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. Then the other thing in Japan is kind of the end of the culture of travel. What do you guys say in English? The culture came from Europe. The West Asia and East Asia, the East Asia, the West Asia and China, and coming to Japan.
Okay. Yeah.
Lots of cultures.
Right. Yeah. The multicultural influence.
Yes, kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Japan is more like a mixing culture. Is the kind of Japanese culture
of the different breeds. Then.
It's like a food culture. We eat French, Italian.
The food. Yeah, the food. The cuisines, the different
cuisines.
Food.
Yeah, the cuisine. Not only cuisine, but also other, clothing, everything.
Yeah.
We kind of the end of the culture travel from all over the world. So we're mixing a lot of cuisine in Japan. So we have a lot of way to eat the beef. So not only just steak, not only just the cutlets, or maybe sukiyaki, shabu-shabu, and even we cannot eat like sashimi, but we used to. And then we are able to eat every part of our meat or our cattle. So that's a kind of two big, the special thing of Japanese kind of Wagyu. One is we focus on one marbling stuff, and second, we try to eat whole animal.
Full utilization, then.
Yes, it is.
I got a very quick one, and I think going back to the multicultural influence, I see a lot of countries having a kind of a cross of the Wagyu or Kobe. I mean, we can talk about Australia, South America, even here in the United States, some places, and Dr. Bass can talk a little bit. We had that interview with Washington Beef. How's that? I mean, how's the, let's say when this all started, okay, other people want to produce also similar quality as a Japanese beef, how does that work? How do you go and teach how to produce Japanese beef in other countries? Is there like a limitation for cultural? I mean, South America, United States, Australia. I mean, I don't know. You can talk maybe a little bit about that.
Well, I attended the American Wagyu Association conference last year, and I found out kind of big misunderstanding of the people. Why the Kobe beef is not just about the Wagyu. Actually, the definition of the Kobe beef in Japan, it has to be born in one area named Hyogo Prefecture. It's like one prefecture. It's like a Colorado. Okay, so the Hyogo Prefecture, it has the Kobe City, where we will have ICOMS this year. It has to be born in Hyogo Prefecture and raised in Hyogo Prefecture. Okay, then it has to be not only Wagyu breed, but also one breed in Wagyu. I mean, it would breed or like a family or a family tree. What do you guys call?
It has to be like a specific pedigree, then maybe.
Yes, pedigree.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Specific pedigree. Yes, and then when it gets be a carcass, we make a grading, and some specific grading. It has to be above. Actually, we call A36. So we have A, B, C. It's the size of the carcass, and 1 to 5 is actual the grading. And we have a beef marbling standard from 1 to 12. Okay, the Kobe beef has to be A36, above A36. And the weight of the carcass, we have maximized. So 499.9 kilograms is a maximum. If the carcass bigger than 500, you cannot call Kobe beef for that carcass. And I'm not sure because of the Kobe Bryant, or I'm not sure why Kobe beef is so popular in the world. But I understand people say with Kobe beef or Tajima beef and Wagyu beef is almost same to the people.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, it's very specific definition we have.
Since 1883, Ultrasource has been a trusted supplier to the food industry. Ultrasource provides superior kill floor, processing, packaging, and labeling equipment and operational supplies.
Okay. Well, and if I can kind of add a little bit to that for the listeners out there, the way that I've explained it in the past is that, like you said, the cattle have to be born and raised in and around the city of Kobe, and then it's almost like champagne. True, proper champagne has to be raised or grown in that specific region of France. Okay, and to truly call it Kobe, it needs to follow those criteria. And then you also mentioned that it has to have a carcass weight less than 499 kilograms, or 499 kilograms or less, which for the American listeners out there, that's about 1,100 pounds for the carcass. And we know that we can make cattle pretty darn big. But to hit the right marbling scores, marbling levels that Ken is mentioning, it really does take a special kind of breed of animal.
Let me answer about the Francisco's question. How to create the Wagyu beef, like a Japanese Wagyu beef. Well, one is breeding, yes. And one is nutrition, the feeding. Because the Wagyu has potential to have higher marbling than other breeding for beef. I'm sure about it. So if we control the breeding of Wagyu in the world, I mean, we decided not export any genetics of Wagyu or semen or egg or embryo to other country. We decided to not do that anymore. So today, if we are able to get Wagyu in other worlds, it means we exported to 1980. I forgot actual time of where we exported, but that only 100 cattle is the source of the Wagyu in the world officially. Still, we are able to control the genetics of how much breeding we try to get from the genetically. And the second, about the feeding, well, we still use controlling the vitamin A of the middle range because vitamin A is kind of controlling of how can I say? Can you explain about the vitamin A, how it affects to the actual animal in English?
Well, the vitamin A, I mean, it's a fat soluble vitamin.
Right.
And I'm from my perspective or from my background, it's more related to eyesight. I'd have to go back and look at how it would physiologically affect the animal. But you're mentioning it does take some special feeding. So you have to start with the right genetics. Okay. And again, if we use the example of wine or champagne, you have to start with the right grapes. And then you have to nurture it the right way. And so you're mentioning you're feeding it a certain way, and you're supplementing with vitamin A. And I'll have to look that up to see.
Well, actually, we make short. So we make the lacking of the right vitamin A during the middle range.
Okay.
Yeah, as you know, vitamin A control the fat. How can I say fat? If the cattle have the vitamin A, they kind of consume the fat.
Okay.
They burning the fat. They are able to use the fat for energy. But if you short of the vitamin A, they got stuck the fat above the vine, such as the barbel.
Okay.
But if you
so it's a deficiency of vitamin A. Then you restrict vitamin A amounts, and then the animal doesn't grow muscularly and skeletally to its maximum potential, but that's helping to concentrate the marbling that's already there in the meat. Absolutely fascinating. Wow. Right. Okay.
But if you stop the vitamin A to feed them, as you said, the cattle get smaller, right? So we found that when we should not feed that vitamin A. So we control the level of the vitamin A actually.
So go ahead.
Okay, so that's the kind of skill how we make the marbling. But today we have so much marble beef in Japan. Okay, so today's almost 50% of our cattle is A5.
Wow.
So it's like a prime plus.
Yeah. Well beyond what would be considered prime in the United States. The so the marbling potential of the Wagyu cattle
is A4.
Okay, 30% marbling.
Okay. So 80% of our cattle is above marbling score 8,
Wow.
such as prime plus or something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. For those listening, and if you're not familiar with the Japanese beef marbling standards, what would be considered high prime in the United States would be a marbling score of you mentioned 8, I believe. Okay, and so they have yet 4 more marbling levels beyond our highest standard that we can even apply to a carcass in the United States. And so trying to help the listener understand just how rich this meat really is, which makes it so special.
Right. So, and then we have only 10% of marbling score of 5 to or 6, I can say, or 4 to 6, such as prime plus about.
Mm-hmm.
So less than that marbling is only 1% or 2%. So it means, 90% of our Wagyu beef in Japan is beyond the prime.
Yeah.
So today, the lean meat, so less, weaker marbling meat is rare.
Yeah.
So that's kind of big challenge today in Japan to me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and to incorporate enough lean maybe into ground products, then you're saying.
Not only well, that's a good point because, of course, if we cut the loin cuts, the longest dorsai, of course, it's marble, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you cut inside rounds of the beef marbling score 12, you can find out marble.
Yeah.
So all muscle have marble cuts, even shank.
Even the shank.
Meat has,
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to come visit you, Ken. I need to cut some shank meat that has marbling in it. That's
a good quote.
Yeah.
Even the shank is marble.
Even the shank is rich.
Yeah. So not for the ground beef, but also for the steak. From the loin cuts, so it's like a sirloin steak.
Yeah.
We try to have one with a good balance of the marbling.
Yeah.
But it's kind of difficult to get that cuts because the inside rounds it still has it has marble, but not as tender as the tenderloin. Right. Still, it's got different cuts.
Yeah. So
that's a big issue today in Japan because as a butcher to the consumer or our customer, you may know Japanese. The ratio of the over 50 is how many percent? Like 40% today.
Okay.
Yeah, and 70% of our population will be over 50 next 10 years or something.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we are getting older. The older, the leaner was preferred.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to sell the high, too much marbling.
Well, and that may indeed be domestic, but I'll tell you the idea even of Kobe beef and Japanese originating beef internationally, it's exploded. There's so much interest in this, and there has been for many years. Something I want to follow up, Ken, and I think you told me a little bit about this many years ago when you and I were working together, but is about the feeding. Okay. Yes. And I want you to just tell us outright what's going on, because there are many stories that the farmers are out there and they're feeding them Sapporo and sake and they're brushing them down every day and maybe singing to them. How much of that is true and how much of that is maybe myth?
Okay. Well, people keep asking about it. Well, I gave an answer. Well, nobody feed the alcohol or beer or sake to the animal. No. Well, some farmer gave some alcohol to their cattle before they bring the animal to the slaughterhouse before
I see.
harvesting. Yeah. The brushing, yes, we have to cleaning up the cattle before it bring to the meat plant.
Oh, okay.
It has to be cleaning up. It's not just because of they got calm, but it's a food safety consumption.
Interesting.
it's kind of good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the dirty, animal, it's not allowed to get into the meat plant.
Right.
So if it's dirty, we have to clean it up before get into the actual meat plant.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that
So-
makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Also, but I believe we treat more gently to the animal because today's average of heads of animal per farmer, it should be, I forgot the number, actual number. It's not huge like in the United States. Sorry, I forgot the number.
That's okay. It's a small herd size, though, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So because we in Japan, I can tell 60 head.
60.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or 60, per one farm.
Okay.
The large farm feeding 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Yes.
Okay.
But 60, or like the farmer who I usually purchase is almost 100 to 200.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then one pen, they put 5 to 6 animal
Okay.
in one pen. So they are able to take care for each animals.
It's much more intensive than
Yes, it is.
and then compared to our very common to see a feed yard in the United States in the tens of thousands,
Mhm.
and each pen may contain 200 to 300 animals at a time, and so
Right,
it's a different strategy. Of course, we're still making sure that the animals are cared for. It's just it's a different management system, and of course, those animals in Japan, you can ask a lot more for.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I wanted to follow up, especially on my question on just trying to have this type of cattle somewhere else. I mean, when you talk about genetics, I think we can talk a little bit about between the balance of genetics and the practices to achieve that quality. And I'm not sure if you can tell us more about that, especially because I know you interact a lot with ranchers and farmers and like outside Japan.
Yeah, right.
And maybe the impact of, okay, you got the genetic, but okay, what's beyond that to achieve the goal?
Yes. The first, how much big it is, depending on if you have a huge feedlot, you cannot control each animal, right? It's impossible. But if you less than 200 heads, 300 heads, you actually recognize each animal. Okay. In Japan, we check each specific animal's pedigree, and our farmer knew which pedigree will be fit what kind of feed to be a higher margin or getting bigger. Okay, so they kind of control a little bit every day. They check how they not only just how they look, they check the poops, they check how they move, how they attract during the daytime. So they check each animal, then they feed a little bit for each animal. So that's the kind of one big difference between Japan and the other countries. But well, yesterday I talked to the ranchers and they asked me how we should feed. So I just asked what kind of taste and fragrance you want, right? So just marbling, if you want to just marbling, please check the vitamin A volume especially during the age of 15 months to actually 12 months to 20 months. Yeah, you have to some vitamin A volume. You have to control some how can I say you make the limit of the vitamin A during that time, so you will be able to get the the marbling. So after 20 months old, you should feed more vitamin A than they actually required. Otherwise, they will not getting bigger or they get sick. So it means you have to control one by one, not just the big volume. Yeah.
Very, very intensive farming then. Yeah. Controlling or intensively managing each individual animal.
Right.
And to give the folks listening out there maybe a little bit of perspective, and this is going to lead into my next question, which is about special cuts that are in Japan, because you talked about how even the shank meat, you'll pull that out specifically, and the marbling that's associated with it. But what is the approximate average cost of an A5 beef carcass?
Okay.
If that's something you can convert for us.
I know. So, the average of the A5 carcass, it must be, today it's a COVID-19 situation, so it's at a lower price than usual. Okay. Today it's the like a $30 per kilogram. So
$30 per kilo.
Yes. So $15 per pound as a carcass. Okay.
Yep, at least, yeah.
As a carcass, as a whole carcass. Okay.
Wow.
So it should be, if you say like 500, not the Kobe beef, but other cattle, the average of our carcass in Japan today is like 500 to 600 kilogram. Yeah, it's huge. I know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, times $30. So, $15,000.
Yeah, about 15. Yeah, that's the math that I'm getting.
Yeah.
I'm using a little bit smaller carcass, maybe like a 400 kilogram times 2.2. That's 880 pound carcass, which is that's a good relative one for our listeners here in North America. That's a pretty average size carcass in America. So if you say a 400 kilogram carcass at $30, approximately $30 a kilogram, that's $12,000. That's $12,000 for the carcass. We haven't even cut any steaks yet.
Right.
You must when you go pick up your beef, you must drive in an armored van. I mean, that's some very, very fancy meat that you're carrying.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and tell us a little bit, if you can, about maybe some unique cuts that our listeners may be unfamiliar with.
Well, let's see, unique cuts.
Because you wouldn't necessarily just cut a chuck roll or a do you just normally cut regular ribeye steaks, or do you maybe piece those pieces apart?
Yes, sure. We are able to get like 60 different cuts from one animal. Okay, even inside
60 different cuts.
Yes.
Wow.
Even inside, inside round, I separate like 4 different cuts
Oh wow.
because the inside round of the parts is a huge muscle, right?
Mhm.
So near to the knuckle or near to the how can I
Over
say
to the eye of round.
Yeah, eye of rounds.
Mhm.
It's kind of different taste.
Sure.
So we separate the inside round to 4 different cuts. Or how? Oh, the you can see the liver eye. Beside the liver eye, what I say?
The spinalis.
Swallow,
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
We
wow.
separate.
Yeah.
Yes. We of course use the different cuts for each. Because there's thick fat between those cuts. So
Right.
what else? Oh, the here,
The biceps.
biceps femoris.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, biceps. We use the cuts for yakiniku. So it's like a grill.
Really?
Yes, we do.
So-
Not
so-
stew.
So yeah, right. So for our listeners out there, if you're less familiar with some of the anatomy on a beef carcass, the biceps almost always will go into stew or ground beef in the United States
Right.
because it's
Right.
so lean. And you're saying
Yes.
you'll slice that into grilling items.
Grilling, yes. Because it looks like same as shank meat,
Mhm.
but that's the seam is totally different.
Okay.
There are kind of 2 different seam. One is it's very chew. One is very easy to bite. Flap iron,
Flat iron, yeah, flat iron.
flat
Yeah.
iron,
Yeah.
or a breadstick. You can find that seam
Yeah.
inside, right? That seam is you can bite, right?
Mhm.
That's kind of different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we separate almost every cut by seams. Yes. So we
That's
try
awesome.
to maximize. Yeah, try to maximize the potential of each cut.
So I would assume, and I'm really hoping that ICOM is going to take place this year, so we can potentially start planning some interviews over there. But I really want to go to a retail business or a butcher or a supermarket to see how Wagyu beef is marketed. What are some, like, just especially the main difference? And I'm sure you've been here in the States.
Yes.
What are some of the main difference that you see how meat is marketed between the United States and Japan at the retail level?
The retail level? Well, I was in the United States till 2008. I graduated Colorado State, the Master of Meat Science in 2008. And I came back last year, 2021. I stopped the supermarket there. And in Colorado, I was surprised how much fish they sell the last 10 years. But in Japan, we sell more meat than fish. Last 10 years, yeah, the consumption of the meat is getting bigger. And the market, as I said, the market consumption in Japan about beef, not only beef, but also pork. The half, like 50% of the consumption of beef and pork came from the United States and Australia or Canada for pork. So the biggest differentiation is we imported a lot of beef. Well, I know the US imported a lot too, but if you go to the supermarket, 50% of the meat came from the US or Australia. It's kind of different in the United States, I believe. also, so I want you to know, people believe the Japanese consumer eat lots of marbling beef, but it's not true because it's just 20%, or maybe, yeah.
Well, and it's expensive too, and so one of the and maybe to talk a little bit about what Francisco mentioned is that my assumption is that you don't have big thick steaks in the supermarkets in Japan like we would maybe have here in the United States. Is that right? It may be smaller portions and smaller cuts.
Okay. Oh, that's difference. Okay. I was surprised in the United States last year. You guys start selling about cuts, two big cuts. One is brisket, one is dry beef. Why you guys just sell that two cuts so familiar? I was surprised how getting familiar with that.
Barbecue. Lots and lots of barbecue. We are a barbecue nation, Ken.
It used to be, only loin cuts and the tenderloin and some round cuts, the big chunk of round cuts, and ground beef.
Yeah.
Right? That's all.
Right.
Either loin or ground beef, I can say.
Yeah.
But in Japan, even US beef, we use every cut
Yeah.
as a fresh meat. That's kind of the big difference, yes.
Yeah. So and selling it as more of a whole muscle item than say making grinds
to maximize a higher price.
Yeah.
Because if you sell the ground beef, maybe $300 per $3 per kilo per 100 gram. So like $12 per pound.
Okay, $12 per pound.
For the ground beef, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you do some grill cuts, you can sell twice more expensive.
Right.
Even same cuts.
Right.
So we try to, make more money from the imported beef.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, and it makes sense. I mean, the reality is as you've mentioned, Japan is an island nation, limited in farmland, and so imports are a necessity to make sure that the population continues to get the protein and can eat delicious meals. And so I think it's great to bring that in, but you also have to truly not just optimize, but really almost maximize the use of those items. It's beyond optimize.
Right. So. And I always keep saying, don't abuse the good cuts.
Yeah, don't abuse the good cuts.
In the US.
Yep. Yeah.
I was like, wow, why don't you use that cuts for just grill? The last year I actually show how to eat, how fabricate our cuts. Mm-hmm. And I worked with the guy from the CSU Meat Lab. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking how you use this cut. And they say, it's just ground beef. I was like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If the grill this, it's tasty. Right? Something like that.
Well, and I'll tell the whole listeners as we begin to land this plane, Ken taught me about a lot of things. And one of those was and for our small operators out there who do harvest beef, is that the tendons have some great value as well. And yes. I remember very well when Ken asked me to save the tendons, and I kind of looked at him sideways and said, I don't know what you're going to do with that, but he went and made some absolutely amazing stew with it. That I was beside myself. And so really what I'm trying to tell the listeners out there is this is just merely one direction that we can go to learn more about meat cutting. And I think I've already mentioned it on this program, but a dream of mine would be to travel the world and just go cut meat with different butchers in different countries. And Ken, one day that's going to happen. I'm going to come. Yeah. Maybe you'll let me clean the counter because I'm not allowed to touch that expensive meat. But, but man, you know what? I think we could talk for another couple hours. let's keep the conversation going, and hopefully
Let's
we'll be able to
let's
visit.
let's record part B or part 2 of this in Japan, and I think we can do a little bit of cutting if time allows us, and I think I'm just looking forward to getting to know you in person, Ken. If as I said before we started recording, if COVID allows us to start traveling more. Well, thank you, Ken, for joining us today. I think we for sure enjoyed this conversation with you, and I'm certain that a lot of processors will benefit from this conversation. Dr. Bass, you got anything else to add on before we wrap it up?
It's just such a pleasure to see Ken and to hear him, and just keep up the good work, man. So.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
Thank
you very much.
All right.